Hello, welcome to Granite Sculpt. If you enjoy these videos, then please hit subscribe and ring that bell.
So as you can see here, we've been presented when we've opened Blender with this menu. And in this menu, under where it says New File, what we'll do is we'll select Sculpting, and this will take us to the Sculpting mode or layout. So I've just selected that. I'm presented now with this sphere. I'm just going to select the the snake hook brush, and then if I hit F, I can resize it, and just hit F and drag basically to resize, and then I can just start pulling it up. So I'm just pulling it up and then reshaping it into a mushroom head. So this mushroom head, as you can see, I'm going round and round it just to try and make sure that everything's like level-ish. It doesn't need to be perfect because it's an organic shape. And we're going for this kind of Alice in Wonderland kind of look to this mushroom, that kind of style, so sort of slightly sinister shaped. So I've just gone to the draw tool and I'm hit control, so to push in and like basically just carve out the inside. I'm also holding shift to smooth. So I'm holding control to push in, and then as you can see here as well, I'm thinning it out. So I'm just holding control to carve out that shape using the draw brush, and then I'm hitting shift to smooth, and then I'm also smoothing the outside a bit and drawing to add a little bit. So it's control to carve out, and obviously no control to add with the draw brush. So that's the mushroom head pretty much finished. I'm just going to add or should I say the layout, so that we can now go to add an object. So we're going to add a cube, and then we're going to go to edit mode, and then we're going to go to scale. I'm just going to scale this to the correct size to fit inside. I'm just going to pull that down a little bit, and then I'm going to go to the wireframe mode just to check that the two are intersecting each other. And then I'm going to do the loop cut and on the top and the bottom, and that's just to control the curve for when I apply the subdivide. I'm just going to go back to change that back to that view, and then I'm going to add the subdivision surface, and then once I've done that, I'm just going to up the levels to 4, and as you can see, that's nicely smoothed, and then going back to object mode and then apply, and then I'm going to select both of the objects, and I'm going to hit Control J, and that's going to join the two objects. And once they're joined, I then need to remesh them. So you can see the remesh option up there, but what we're going to do is hit Shift R to select the resolution. And as you can see, I'm just going to decide on a 2.6 resolution, 0.26 resolution. And then I've hit Control R to set that new resolution. As you can see, it's set now, that remesh, sorry. So, and then what I'm going to do is smooth with the smooth brush inside, just to, now they're joined together. Excellent. So now those are both joined and this has been smoothed. We're now going to move on to adding some more shapes. So I'm just going to turn on Dynatope and set the resolution to 30. And then with the crease brush, I'm going to add creases. Now you'll just have to be careful that you have to turn as you add the creases, otherwise the curves of those creases can sort of overlap and look a bit odd, which is why I'm sort of doing this in sort of sections and then turning. And as you can see, I've set the resolution on the Dynatope to 30 for this. And these look a bit harsh at the moment, but we'll smooth the top part after, so that it's a little bit more subtle. But this is just for the style of mushroom that I'm going for. I'm not going for your typical sort of red with white dots. I'm going for a more sort of, I would say, a more interesting sort of subtle creased shape with some more subtle colours, I guess, as well. So as you can see, we're now coming round and we've almost completed this. And this is all using the crease brush, and that's just pretty much there. So now I'm going to go to the smooth brush, and I'm just going to smooth it just to make the transition between the creases and the top that's smooth a little more subtle. So you can see I've done that now. That's looking good. So the next thing I want to do is I want to use the draw brush to, the grab brush to reposition, and then the draw brush to push and pull the top of the mushroom. Well, I'm also using now the grab tool to pull the bottom parts up and down and make them less sort of more random, I guess, more organic. Now I'm going to the draw brush and I'm using control to push in, and obviously just the brush to pull out. And I'm just pushing and pulling out, and I'm just adding these kind of imperfections, these grooves, I guess we would say, to make this look more like an organic shaped mushroom head. It's looking much better now, more organic. I'm going to also just add a little bit in the middle here, or take away a little bit, should I say, just to try and thin this a smidge. Now the main thing here is obviously you've got to be careful, because you don't want to push it through. I'm not going to go too much detail inside. You could add some nice grooves, but again, because it's an intro tutorial, I don't want to go into too much detail, and in the render you won't see it. I've just gone to the pinch tool now, and then I'm just pinching it just to sharpen those edges a little bit, just so these walls don't look too thick, basically. And then I'm using the draw brush now to just push and pull out, and just again add that more organic feeling shape, and just smoothing there. Okay, so we've pretty much created the mushroom head now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start working on the stem, and we're going to add our face to the stem. Oh, sorry, I'll just add a little bit. I just want to push and pull that out a little bit more. Yeah, just pull that around. Just a few adjustments. And just when you're looking at these things at different angles, you then think, oh, I need to add a little bit more to that, or make some subtle changes. Right, now we'll start working on the stem. So I've just switched on the mirror, hitting the X mirror, and that's because obviously it'll cut down on the amount of work for when we're creating this face. So I'm on the draw brush again, and I'm just going to start shaping out the face. I'm going to add a little bit to the back as well. This is just a judgment call with this, because obviously it's not a realistic face, so it's a judgment call, and you just want to roughly get it how you the kind of shape for adding a head. I'm also going to thicken up this top part here. You're not going to notice past the point that I'm sort of modelling to, so you don't really need to go right up inside, but if you've got time, obviously you can. So as you can see, I'm still drawing here. I'm hitting shift to smooth, as I've said before, shift to smooth, and I'm just shaping this out. I'm going to add a little bit as well and round off the bottom part, because obviously when you usually see mushrooms, they sort of seem to have a little rounding to the bottom. And I'm going to use the grab tool, because obviously you're never in nature going to have a perfectly straight stem, so I'm just going to reshape it and pull it around a little bit. Just add a little bit of a curve there. Yeah, I think that's looking better already, a bit more natural. It's good, always a good idea to go into each view and just try and get it more natural looking. I'm going to go to Dynatope. We're set it at 30, but we'll set it up, to 60, and then what we'll do now is we'll start actually carving out the face. So I've got the draw brush again, and we're going to make the holes for the eyes. So I'm holding control as I'm pushing back to draw in the sockets for the eyes, and then what we'll do is go back to layout and add a UV sphere. And then we'll go to edit mode, and we'll scale them down, and we'll position them in the eye socket. As I've said in other videos, you're looking at 5 eyeballs should fit across the face, so that's a rough guide for the size it should be. And I always like to rotate the sphere so that you can see the faces are facing forward if you want to work on the eyeball there for later on. Right, so we've positioned our eyeball now. So we'll go back to the sculpting with obviously the main body selected, and I'm just going to start sculpting in the eyelids and the eyebrows. So I'm just pulling this forward now with the draw brush. And I'm trying to make like quite low eyelids. I want the eyeballs well covered. And I also want quite defined eyebrows as well, but I'm just working on the top eyelids at the moment. Now I'm moving on to these bottom ones. I'm just pulling these up, as you can see. So I'm just sculpting these eyelids. I'm going to go up to 80 now because it's quite, it still looks a little bit rough, doesn't it, the clay. And then I'm using the crease brush now just to try and add some little details in. And I'm just going to use the grab brush just to pull these eyelids forward a little bit. It may look odd now, but just remember, obviously, this is just all part of the process, and just hold the shift there to smooth. I'm just going to draw in because I want quite an old face with lumpy, grooved eyelids, and then holding, using the draw brush just to pull out some eyebrows even. And then I'm going to use the draw sharp tool to try and carve in a bit of a crease around here. I'm going to go for quite an odd looking crease from the eyelids to the nose. And then I'm holding shift there just to smooth where I've added some of the eyebrow. Go back to the crease brush and just crease these wrinkles in. Try and define the edge of the eye. Now I'm going to go to the snake hook and I'm going to set the resolution down to 60 and I'm going to start pulling out the nose. So just grab that nose, pull out the tip and then obviously the bridge of the nose. And then I'm using the draw brush just to shape out. I'm going to make this quite a large nose because I'm looking for character here. So yeah, I'm just using the draw brush just to add a little bit more. Make this a really thick, dense nose. And then I'm going to use the crease brush to define the nostrils a little bit more. And I'm going to use the grab brush just to pull it down and reshape the nose slightly. Back to the crease brush just to add more of a crease, and that's looking a bit better now. Yeah, just crease that in, define the nose. I'm going to add those creases that lead down to the mouth. And then the draw brush just to add a little bit of thickness, and then I just hold the shift there just to curve that out a bit. I'm going to start carving out the nostrils now, so I'm holding control. Looks like I need a bit more detail, so I set that up to 80 again, and I'm holding control to push that back, and then go back to the crease brush. We're just going to try and curve this round a little bit more, just define those nostrils. That's better. I'm just going to go to the draw brush and just add a bit more meat to the tip of the nose, because we're going for that Alice in Wonderland kind of style. Now I'm just drawing and adding a bit more clay to be able to carve the mouth out, because obviously the mouth comes forward a bit. And then I'm going to go to crease, and I'm going to just set the crease for the mouth. So I always use this kind of V and then pull it down from there. And then I'm going to use the clay strips, but I'm actually going to delete and get rid of some of this clay in the lower lip to help me define the upper lip and to add the detail for the muscles that would be there and the tendons. So now I've done that, I'm going to put the crease back in because I've lost a bit of that crease. And then we'll use some clay strips just to add a bit, and then we'll add the lower lip now. And as you can see, I kind of like just slot that lower lip underneath in the gap that I now have, so you can see why I cut that out before. I'm just going to add the details now for the lip underneath and the chin. And as you can see, we've kind of got the start of it now. And then I'm going to go and hold control using crease to almost to pinch really and grab and add some definition to that top lip. And I'm also going to use draw to add the the lines of sort of flesh up to the nose from the cupid's bow. Yeah, just adding a bit to the lips now, and then crease holding control to pinch and add some definition to that lower lip, and then the grab tool just to reshape that mouth a little. And I'm holding shift a lot as well, just using shift to smooth, and then I'm just going to add a bit more. Now it all looks a little bit flat at the moment. I'm going to have to set that Dynatope to 60 now just to add some more cheeks. Cheekbones should be a bit higher. I'm just going to pull these in just to define those cheeks a bit more in the mouth. I need to add to that chin because it's not looking quite right. And just add a little bit more detail here. Yeah. Go back to the crease, add a bit more, and then I'm holding shift again just to smooth out. Just using the crease brush, just trying to add some definition, and then I'm holding shift to smooth as well. I'm going to change the Dynatope to 80 so that I can just add a bit more detail and a bit more to these eyebrows. I'm just going to add some more of a crease and definition to the sides. Obviously this isn't a real face, so we can be a bit more characterful, I guess. I'm just going to add a bit more of a forehead to make this look a bit more natural, so I can build up these eyebrows and make them work a bit better. Add some creases in, some of the sort of the creases you'd see on an older face. And then I'm just drawing up the eyebrows and smoothing as well. Keep building them up. Added a bit to the nostrils, a bit more to the cheeks. Looked a bit odd. And then I'm back onto the grabbing this, because as you can see the mouth's a bit flat. So I'm just using the grab tool and I'm just pulling back the edges of the mouth, and also just pull out this chin as well. And I'm just rounding off and pulling out so that this looks more natural. And a bit more reshaping. Yeah, I think that's a bit much, so I'll just pull that around. Yeah, it's better. Just trying to smooth around those eyebrows. We're almost there, really. It's just about making subtle changes now. So I'm just going to turn the symmetry off so that when I make changes it's only on one side. There you go. Because obviously I don't want it mirroring all the time. I'm just going to pull this eyebrow up a little bit, if it will. It's not quite how I want it to look. Just going to pull that crease round. There we go. And then I'll just grab and pull that down a little bit. Pull this one down too. There we go. So we're pretty much there. I'm happier with that now. Just like, again, there's loads of tweaking and subtle changes, but for an introduction to some sculpting, hopefully you guys have found this really fun and interesting. And you can see you can pretty much create anything, and you can make really interesting like characters. I'm just gonna add in some little warts and stuff since he's a fun guy. So we don't want him to be too perfect or too attractive. Yeah. And you can see you can make quite a fun and sort of ironic character. I can just imagine him being surrounded by other funguses, or should I say mushrooms, and him being the miserable one in the middle. So anyway, I really hope you've enjoyed this. It's an intro from sculpting from start to finish, all in one lesson, which I think would hopefully be fun for people who are maybe just being introduced to it. Hopefully you like the final result. As you can see, I've just retopologized this, and then in Substance Painter added some colour. Nothing too fancy. Nothing that people introduced to this subject matter couldn't do themselves eventually. Please remember to subscribe if you liked the video, and it'd be great if you guys will join me for more in future.